And of course, we're in a period of mourning for Queen Elizabeth II. So I thought this morning I would see if I could put together a posy that I could leave at our memorial in town and remember the Queen and my mum in that way. So good morning and welcome. And if you're watching live, leave me the hashtag live or let me know where and abouts in the world you are. And if you're watching on replay later on today or next week, next month, even next year, leave me the hashtag. I've said that the wrong way around, haven't I? Replay and live. You know what I mean. So this morning, there's quite a stillness to the air, a little bit of a breeze. I've got lots of high cloud. Bare feet this morning, the grass has got a little bit of dew on it, and I've got the tinkling of next door neighbour's little water feature, and I can hear the sounds of my husband talking to the workmen in our bathroom. So it's all a little bit of madness at home at the moment. Some home improvements going on, and also a new dishwasher being delivered today, which necessitated me moving all the loose bits of furniture out of the kitchen and dumping them on the patio. So I have got my fingers crossed that it's not going to rain today. So let's get on and pick some flowers. So today I have got my trusty bucket that I'm going to cut my flowers into. Good morning, Linda, and how are you this morning? And I've got my floristry scissors, and I've actually got a piece of string today because I want to tie my flowers up. So part of this video is inspired by or dedicated to the three ladies that I travelled up to London with on Saturday. So I had a long-standing engagement to meet a school friend for lunch on Saturday, and as we know, the Queen died on Thursday at some point. And I thought, well, as I'm going up to London, I may as well have a little wander past Buckingham Palace and walk through Green Park to go and meet my friend. And I was there about the time of the royal proclamation at St James's Palace. So I heard the gun salute going off, quite muffled, in Hyde Park, because I was a little distance away. Good morning, Lisa. And beginning to see some of the tributes that were being laid. So I couldn't actually get close to Buckingham Palace, and we were very much kept on the pavements by the barriers, and I had a little bit of trouble crossing the Mall because I couldn't cross where I wanted to. I had to go all the way up, is it Admiralty Arch, towards the Trafalgar Square end before I could cross the road and then go through Green Park. And in actual fact, I couldn't go back to Green Park because the traffic around St James's Palace had been held up. So I wiggled my way around the back streets through Pall Mall and St James's Square. And as I was going up New Bond Street, I saw a lady that I recognised. I thought, really? And I followed. She came out of the shop, LK Bennett, in front of me. A lady, quite petite, grey hair, very neat, and held herself very neatly. And I thought, that's Theresa May. So I sort of slowed my path down, and I could sense that she had two security officers with her, quite some way from her. And she got into a Range Rover parked around the corner, and I just waited until she turned to get into the car. And yes, it was Theresa May coming out of LK Bennett. So that was my story for the weekend. And when I went home, left my friend in Oxford Street, and I thought I'll go back to have a look at the palace again, see if I can get closer. But it was even more crowded, and people had started to leave their floral tributes around the trees in Green Park because they couldn't get close. You ended up, as I did, walking to Green Park and down the Mall, discovering that there was a blockage or hold up, and then having to go all the way round. And I ended up walking back along Piccadilly and to Hyde Park Corner and round the back of Buckingham Palace. So it was quite a long way home. So some memories of the Queen, and of course with the Queen dying, I've been thinking about my mum as well, and she would have enjoyed it if I would have been able to ring her up and share those little stories. And we always had this little phrase when we were going up to London, and someone in our family would always say to visit the Queen, is that the poem by A.A. Milne about going to London to visit the Queen? I spotted a mouse under hedge. I don't know. I have to have a look at that. I think it is a line from an A.A. Milne poem. when we were 6, that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do today is I've got actually quite a lot of flowers at home. I did a flower arranging demonstration or a workshop for a local flower club, and we actually made, bizarrely, funeral tributes. So they booked me at the beginning of the year and the date came along. So funeral tributes in the loose or open style, and you can check out a picture I've left on my Instagram, which is @flowerstart with an underscore at the end. And then I've got my regular bucket of flowers that have come from the flower farmer, the subscription I've had. So I've arranged some dahlias. So we're quite full of flowers at the moment. So I thought as I go around my garden now, I will put together a little, not a tied bunch, a tied bouquet, but a little bunch of flowers that I could put as a remembrance to my mum and to the Queen. And I did say, circling back on my story, that dedicated to the 3 ladies who joined me at the table I had on the train. And I think they also had a long-standing arrangement to go to London, and they were also going to take the opportunity of going to Buckingham Palace to pay their respects. And they got on the train and they bought some supermarket flowers, and they bought a condolence card, and they'd even bought some wrapping paper to wrap their flowers up. And they did amuse me because they were passing up the flowers on the train, and went to great efforts to peel the label off the packet of the flowers. And then they put the flowers with their cellophane wrap into the wrapping paper and did a beautiful wrapping job, and they even had sellotape with them to tie it all together. And it did amuse me. I sat there thinking, should I just suggest that they should remove the cellophane wrap? So you let me know in the comments, when you are gifting your flowers or leaving your flowers in memory of the Queen or that special person in your life, do you take the cellophane off, or do you keep it all together? So as a florist and a flower arranger, I'm thinking about the end use of those flowers. They're not actually going to be taken indoors by the royal family to enjoy. They're going to be there as a memorial. At some point they'll be cleared away, and I think the message from the royal household is that they'll be composted, but that makes it very difficult if they've got the cellophane wrap on them and the elastic band and the little sachet of flower food. So if you are thinking of going to Buckingham Palace, especially if you're going to go and view the Queen as she lies in state, I would suggest, highly recommend, urge you to snip off the plastic coating. It may be that if you're travelling up to London, you might want something around your flowers to protect them from getting bashed about as you go from home to the train station and getting off. But I would definitely rip it. If you're careful, you can rip it, or you could even cut it before you left home and then just loosely wrap it on afterwards. But it would just look so much more beautiful. Good morning, Mary, as well. Good morning, Mary. It's lovely to see you. So, have you ever seen the Queen? I have never ever in real life seen the Queen. So if you've got any stories, any royal stories to share, now is the moment to do it. So and the other reason why I'm sitting on a posh chair, my own throne in the garden, is because it's the chair that I've got in my kitchen. And again, we're having a new dishwasher delivered today. So I've just sort of taken all the loose furniture out of the kitchen in order that there's a pathway round to get our dishwasher fitted. And this is the chair that I painted the fabric with chalk paint, and of course I've still got some of my Jubilee decorations. I did put my bunting away last Thursday morning. I don't know whether I jinxed the Queen by doing that, but I've still got my Union flag out here, and I've also still got my Union flag teapot as well. So I will be, perhaps after the period of mourning is finished and the Queen's funeral next Monday, I shall finally put these away until we've got the next royal celebration. So let's check out these dahlias. They have been going so well, and they are quite tall now. If I stand up, they are waist height on me. So they've been doing really, really well. And it's almost like this springy bounce of dahlias and zinnias as well. So they started off in the year absolutely really insignificant, and we thought, are these ever going to come up and flower and fill out? And actually I'm noticing, because my husband's even put one of these metal grills around them to stop the flowers spilling over. So I'm going to put my my string down, and I'm going to go and perhaps a sort of almost like a deadheading opportunity. No, I want nice flowers, but just to go through and randomly see what I can pick. So I might take some of these from the outer edge in order that they... Oh, thank you, Linda. I've been searching for a dress like this all summer. I don't know whether you follow Paula Sutton, and she wrote a book called Hill House Vintage, which I was given for Christmas. And I think I've done a book review on that as well. So I'll put links after the video goes live to the painting of the chair and to Paula Sutton's Hill House Vintage book. But she wears this style of dress, and actually they're fashionable at the moment. The big sort of milkmaid sleeves and the shearing elastic back and front. So this is actually my third dress of the season. I did have a green and white check, and I decided that the elastic didn't fall on the right place on my body. I quite like how I looked from the back, but not from the front. So then I bought a white embroidery anglaise dress, which actually is lined and it's quite heavy, but that slightly cuts me in the wrong place. And I just happened to be wandering around town last Tuesday. I went to the Florist to order some of the specialist greenery for Zoom flower class, which I need to go and pick up today, so I can show those of you who come to Zoom flower class what it looks like. And I just spotted this in the window, actually, of our local shoe shop. So I'm pleased with that. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, thank you. So I bought it because the elastic goes right down to my waist, so it just hangs in a little bit. And then I have got a big pair of, granny pants on underneath. I did notice that in the sunshine, it's one of those dresses a bit like Lady Di, when you can see straight through it when the sun shines. So I do really need to be nice and cool, but it does really need a petticoat underneath it. So I can't take too much. I don't want to denude too much of the garden. And if you watched the video a couple of weeks ago, my husband was shrieking. Well, he wasn't actually shrieking at me, but he was sort of noises off, and he was exclaiming because he'd spotted me cutting the Japanese anemone, and he said, "Oh, I wasn't really telling you off." But as I was filming live, it did kind of feel like I was being told off, and I thought he was locking me out of the back door, and he said he wasn't. Yes, although the key was turned, he was sort of on, automatic pilot, because he's so used to, locking the door after the dog's been out. So I probably took offence when none was meant. So aren't these just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous? Oh, I sound like Strictly Come Dancing Man there. Oh, look, that's just got a bit of bindweed coming up. We have so much bindweed in our garden. So I might just leave it at that in terms of, how many flowers I'm going to pick, because it's about making, you're marking, celebrating the Queen's life, mourning her death. It doesn't have to be the biggest arrangement ever. It could just be a single bloom. In actual fact, the bucket of flowers I got from the flower farmer when my delivery came had lovely jewel-like colours and had one single white dahlia, absolutely beautiful. But I haven't put that in with my other flowers because they're all these lovely dark colours. I've just got it in a bud vase, actually one of the science test tube cylinders that I may well have shown you on a thrift haul before. So it's just standing there. So it could have been, if you are thinking of leaving flowers in memory of the Queen, it could just be a single stem. It doesn't have to be the whole full-blown arrangement. So going back to London again, it was lovely to see people going up, and there were definite family groups. There were some older people as well, and so many people carrying flowers, and a definite hush in the air. And then when I got back on my train about 5:30 on Saturday evening, as our train came in, a little girl and her dad got off with a bunch of flowers, and I'm thinking, I bet you think you're going to be able to go to Buckingham Palace and lay that, but it was still all very, very busy. So I don't know whether that little girl ever actually got to Buckingham Palace. And what people ended up doing, you may well have seen on the news, with all the gates and the decorative ironwork, not actually on Buckingham Palace itself, and they got the Victoria Memorial, but the sort of decorative detail on that outer edge. I don't know whether it's by accident or by design, but there was lots of the wrought ironwork had lots of discs in it, circles in it, so people were actually threading their flowers through, and that looked really beautiful. It was almost like they were creating this tapestry effect on one side, and then you had all these stem ends showing out on the other side, so that was quite lovely to see. So I'm going to make an informal, I'm just bundling my flowers together here. I had rather hoped that I'd remember to bring my green composting bucket, but I've forgotten to do that. So I'm pinching off the lower leaves because I want to, with my piece of string, tie together, and it just looks more elegant. Although I'm not, I'll put them in water until I'm ready to lay them at the memorial in town. It wouldn't matter if it had all the greenery on there at the bottom, but I just like, it's my training coming out. I just like the flower at the top, and then I like the cleanness of the stems. I want a little bit, of elegance. And I can have a bit of a play with these, so I don't have to make sure that the stems are equal for all fitting in the vase. I'm going to concentrate on where the flower heads go up. Yes, Linda, I do hope she did. My heart sort of, when you see someone else and their sort of vulnerability, and I'm thinking, you've come here, and I could see she was really excited, and she was with her dad. And I'm just thinking, it's taken me an hour to avoid all the, to get where I wanted to go because I decided to walk. Why didn't I take the tube? I suppose like everybody, you just assume you're going to be the only person making that journey. But I'm sure if she didn't get to lay them actually in the gates of Buckingham Palace, she would have found the trees in the park nearby. So she would have been able to lay them there. And what they were doing as well when I went down, it's quite interesting to look at the flags on the Mall. So the last time I'd been up to London was just before the Jubilee celebrations. So that would have been, I went up for my daughter's birthday in half term, and we sort of, again, did that same walk to soak up the atmosphere, and we heard a few of the bands practising, and of course all the flags are out down the Mall. So they had all gone. They weren't down the Mall, but in that semicircular bit around the it is the Albert Memorial, is it? Or is it the Victoria Memorial? The memorial in front of Buckingham Palace. There's a semicircle area. And they were starting to, they were either putting up the flags or taking them down, but one half had the flags on the 45-degree masts. And apparently the etiquette is that you don't fly the flag at half mast when it's on the 45-degree. You sort of bundle up the loose ends of the flag hanging down, and you gather it and tie it onto the flagpole with a black sash, and that's what half of them had been tied with a black sash so they couldn't move in the wind, in the breeze, and the other half I couldn't work out whether they were in actual fact taking them down so there'd be no flags, or whether they were putting them all up. And then if you do become a little bit of etiquette snob, and as I walked down New Bond Street, did I tell you I saw Theresa May? There was some, as you know, New Bond Street is very swanky shops, but I am certain that, number one, they had their flags displayed the wrong way up. You're supposed to have, I think I'm right in saying this, the wide part of the flag on the top left-hand corner. So, is that right? Like that? Sometimes you see them when they've been put the other way up. So I wasn't quite sure that the flag was the right way up, but they had got half mast on a 45-degree flagpole, which isn't correct. And I learnt that fact because I saw my friend Jan, she was posting something for one of her local community pages, and it had the etiquette of what you need to do. So there's always something to learn. So although we were British through and through, and we, have high respect for the royal family, I don't think until you get to times like this, you actually know what the true etiquette is. So it's not something that is inbred and comes naturally to us all. But I guess as long as you are being respectful and mindful of other people's feelings at this time, that, anything goes. So, as I say every Tuesday morning, I'm sitting in the garden, just really absorbed in what I'm doing. So it's a really lovely start to the day, just to have a little bit of me time. I've made my cup of tea, which I now drink in a teacup and saucer. And I haven't lit a candle. I could light one for the Queen, couldn't I, and for my mum. But it's coming to the autumn time, and I do like to light a candle in the morning to create that little bit of hygge and just to lift your spirits once the clocks go back. So I actually bought a new candlestick holder at the flower festival I went to at the weekend, a little brass one where you can, when you get the candle stub end, you can you wind it up and you can hold the candle higher, but it doesn't take a taper candle, it's too skinny. So I've had to go through, and I've actually got is one of my little white church candles I was using in my Advent countdown a few years ago. Yes, Linda, it's it's made my life more special. I can't tell it. It's just the little things. Otherwise, you throw the tea bag in the mug. And it's really, really practical. But I just felt that, it's just this little thing. It's the little thing I've brought back so that I can enjoy it. And I like the ritual. And I think we get so used to multitasking, and with pride we say, oh, the kettle boiled and I did this and I did that and the other. And I just try and have it as a still point in my day. And I must admit, I do quite often do it throughout the day as well, because my teacup only holds about a third of a mug of, cup of tea. So I do have to repeat the cycle. So I really like it. And I've now even got, because I like my tea really weak, and block your ears if you're of a delicate disposition. I don't know sometimes about it. I reuse my tea bag in the day, because I like my tea so weak. So I've bought, again from a charity shop, this little pretty pink dish with flowers on, and it came from a charity shop in Dartmouth. So it's a remembrance of my holiday, and it was one of these charity shops that had a vintage theme to it. And for some reason, well, actually I know why, I've left the price on the back. It was £4, and my husband is just shocked, and my daughter, I would spend £4 on this tiny tea bag saucer. But I've left the price on because I thought at some point in time it might become part of a thrift haul video I will film for you. And I thought I might forget the price, but I've talked about it so much, costing £4. I think that's going to be ingrained in my mind forever. So there we've got it, just a little posy that is resting in my hand, with the green leaves sort of falling over my hand. Of course, it's one thing when you're holding a little posy of flowers like this, another thing when you try and tie it up and hold it all into place. So what I'm going to do here, I'm not going to tip it. I am going to tip that away, because I need to remember that I've got the green leaves in my lap. So if I stand up, they're going to be all over the lawn, and then I'm going to have to go around on my hands and knees and pick them up. So a little bit of tidying up there, and my scissors, and then my string. So top tip again, with balls of string, I always pull the string out from the inside so that the string sort of maintains its stability. Now, I don't know whether you knit at all. Do you do that when you knit? I'm not a huge knitter, but I always used to knit from the outside, and then one of my ladies from Flower Club said I ought to pull from the inside. And then I've actually gone around the edge of the string with some washi tape. So these are my balls of string that come to my Christmas Dory classes, and this is my little subliminal message to the ladies that come to class, and the gentlemen, saying, do not unwrap my ball of string from the outside. Make sure you tug from the inside. So a little bit of string. And again, it's going to be biodegradable, so whoever gets rid of these, they don't have to worry about an elastic band or a fabric ribbon. It's going to look, as long as I'm neat, as pretty as if this was, a really swanky, high-class bouquet. It is purely meant as a little memento, a little gift and remembrance from me to the Queen. And I'm remembering my mum at the same time. So I'm going round and round, and I'm sort of making a little belt of string. So I need to tie this sufficiently tight that the flowers hold and don't all go, but you don't want to be too tight that then the heads go. And also the zinnias and the dahlias, I've only got one dahlia in here, they're quite soft stemmed, so I don't want to tie my little posy so tight that it cuts into the flowers and I just end up with a handful of stems. So I've given it a little tie there, and I've got some little curls here, I could leave them long, or if I felt that I wanted to neaten it up, I could tie that in a little bow, just to show that it's, been done with thoughtfulness and effort and not just thrown away. So I think that would look absolutely beautiful. Now, this would be a great thing to do, if you've got a friend who's feeling unwell or just a bit under the weather, or you're celebrating, you've got a birthday to celebrate, or a driving test that's been passed, or an exam that's been passed, and it just means you don't have to go out and spend a fortune. Yes, supermarket flowers, you can get lots for your money. Florist flowers will be really, well cared for and bigger blooms. But just a few stems from your garden. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 stems there. And look how pretty it looks. Fit for a queen, you might say. So I'm going to sign off now. I need to be on duty waiting for our delivery man to arrive. I've taken the opportunity of sweeping the kitchen floor as it's the furniture's all been moved out. It's quite disgusting, isn't it, when you move things around and do a deep clean. And then I've got some painting touch-up jobs in my daughter's bedroom. We've painted a wall in the new bathroom, and she wants some touch-ups doing in her room. So I'm going to get changed into my painting gear after this. I'm then going to go to the florist to collect my lily glass, so I can do a little video on that if you're thinking of coming to Zoom flower class, or you're already booked, so you can see what I'm talking about. And I have had a few questions about Zoom flower class, about do you have to buy everything on the list, and about the pin holders. So I will do a little sort of Q&A video about class, if to settle your mind, or perhaps it'll pique your interest if you're thinking of signing up. So Zoom flower class starts again on Tuesday the 27th of September, and it'll be listed on my website in the next week, and it'll be £150 for 8 classes. And if you want to know any more about that, if you comment Zoom underneath this video, I will get in touch and just explain a little bit more. So I'm going to lay my flowers against my patriotic cushion there, and I'll leave you to get on with your day. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you at the same time next week.